escort, for God's sake. I was told there's about 1,200 of them. It's a shame we got bad weather. Have a look. But I was just told by the police there's about 400 of them. Wow, look at all the police. Notice there's a few black cars there, that's unmarked. So this is interesting. I'm assuming the camper vans are with them, I don't know. Yeah, some of them would be, yes. Interesting, very interesting. I was discussing with someone how interesting it is that the Bikies are meeting, given that the government has legislated against gatherings by motorcycle gangs. We're in South Australia, so they're moving across to Western Australia. And I wondered about a police escort when they're clearly breaking the law in respect of the law, right? I don't necessarily say I disagree, I agree with the law. I actually think I do think people have the right to gather, and that's certainly under the United Nations Universal Declaration. But the thing with the gangs, and you know, I have talked to people who are connected with them. Of course, organised crime does happen, and you know, your whole group of men together, you wonder what they get up to. But I like. Oh, here we go. This guy's pull in, mate. What I do like is when they do the toy drops, you know, when they take the toys out and they try and help children. I'm all for that. But at the same time, we're in a society that is duality, you know. Some people, you know, there'll be people who don't want to be part of the system. And I can understand that, you know, given that it's not an easy system to be part of at times. And so they join together in groups. Now apparently they're having a meeting, that's why they're all gathering. There's 1,200 of them all together gathering. And funnily enough, their name's Rebels. That makes me laugh. They are obviously rebels. It's just interesting. What I would also say is I'd say that the bringing in of legislation is not going to solve any problems. You're not going to stop people gathering by legislating against them, and it's better to, I think, understand why they want to come together and what activities they get up to. We're living in a society that's quite dysfunctional, so it's not surprising to me. I mean, I've been just listening to Eckhart Tolle and the pain body, you know, and the pain body is all about our negativity, you know, and how it's channeled. And for example, if a guy is inciting another guy to fight, his pain body is active, would be the way Eckhart Tolle would talk about it. And if the other guy allows himself to be triggered, you know, because it's come on, be a man, come on, stand up, come on, you know, and they often use the feminine as an insult, which I have to say I don't really approve of, obviously, for obvious reasons. But what it is if the other guy gets the other guy to arc up and fight him, both pain bodies, the pain body is getting what it wants, which is to fight. It's an energy field, it's a negative energy field. And Eckhart Tolle, very interestingly, was talking about people who allow their pain bodies to be triggered, and let's say they commit an act of violence. He was saying that he would see it, he's never heard in a court of law yet any lawyer argue for diminished responsibility, in that the person really truly, you know, didn't consciously do it, their pain body did it. Now it's a whole different way of thinking. It's not to say that people can get away with crimes. Obviously, we're here to protect and love each other. But there are aspects of ourselves that we don't understand, because most of our energy goes into, our education for a vocation, not education for wisdom, or to thine own self be true. We're not learning about who we are. So I think what Eckhart Tolle is saying is, if you want to stop violence, and that's not only just the individual violence, it's the violence between groups and nation states, is to become present. And what that means is to become very conscious of where you are and who you are, and to be conscious of not allowing yourself to be triggered by someone else's pain. So to find that and feel that sense of centre is very important. Whereas we're still in times where, still the notion of manhood is connected with violence. To be a man, you've got to stand up, and take it on the chin. There's no bigger lie than that. What I've since discovered is it's not about taking it on the chin. It's about learning what it is to be a man, and I think peaceful behaviour is far more manly than violent behaviour that has no control or seeks to put control over others. The real manhood is really to thine own self be true. Have the courage to say no to a fight and walk away. And look at your own virtues as a man. Are you compassionate? Have you disconnected from your feelings? And that's another huge one that poor men have been subject to through conditioning, is that they shouldn't feel their feelings, and that to do so is to be a girl. Believe me, to be a woman is a great thing when you can feel your feelings and you can sense other people and you're feeling sensitive to someone. That's a great navigational tool to sense out violence and discord amongst people. If we as a civilization are seeking out to be harmonious, well then we're going to have to look into what makes us lack harmony or in discord, if you like. And that means you're going to have to look at the thoughts that are going through the mind. If they're negative, you have to question those negative thoughts and take full responsibility for them. And I very much encourage men to experience their feelings. There's a lot more men's groups coming around these days where men are actually starting to cry together, and there's nothing weak about that. It's actually an acceptance of themselves as human beings who do cry, and they did cry as children. When they were little boys, they all went running to their mums, and that wasn't a weakness. It was a response of a human being needing comfort and love. And mothers would provide that. The fathers were living in the myth of being the strong silent types. But what I'm hoping in the future is that we start to question these archetypes, which I think are prisons for people. I think it's made men very depressed because they haven't been able to communicate their feelings without being somehow ridiculed. It's also made them incommunicative, so they can't sit down and resolve issues with their wives, partners, whatever, children. Very important that men undo that, because it isn't actually creating happiness and peace. It's creating distance, divorce, and real senses of isolation, which is possibly why bikie gangs get together. Is many of them, maybe, I'm guessing here, I'm not part of them, so I don't know their reality, but trying to feel a sense of family in amongst a group. And of course here's some more guys, there's initiation taking place because they're trying to prove their manhood. Whereas, as I said before, the real manhood, in my view, is actually starting to deal with the issues that have been suppressed within men and allowing them to be human. I think that's really important. And if there's conflict, to be able to have the courage to sit down and work it out together. So just thought I'd share that, since we've got 400 bikies going past. They've all gone past now. I was having a think about them before, and why they felt the need. So we'll leave it on that note. I send out love to everyone, including the rebels too. May they find it and find their peace inside themselves as real men. Come together as a group for the betterment of humanity. We actually need some heroes. Don't come together to cause trouble because you feel frustrated and you want to feel a sense of power. Come together and be the real power, which is your virtues. Show people how great you really are. That would be my thought for them. All right, I'll finish it there. Ciao, ciao, on the Nullarbor plane. Woohoo!